Dog fans, it's time to hunker down. I'm Jeremy York. He's Jake Skinner, and we're here to talk about all things Georgia Bulldogs. Let's start right there out of the gate, Jake. They have another cupcake game coming up this weekend. It's on the road. They are on a team that is ranked a little bit down from them right now. Number two versus number four. Um, the Elephants versus the Doggies.
Yeah, it's a cupcake if you consider scorpion pepper mild. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be a game. I mean, this is the one everyone's been waiting on. It's this is for both teams. They make or break. I know a lot of people close to it don't think Georgia's gonna win it, rightfully so. I'm kind of in that 50-50 range right now, but this is the kind of game that will make or break the season for Georgia. You win, you learn who they are. You lose, it either wakes the whole team up into playing the way they need to, because the playoff is a 12 team now, so that it's not going to kill them. But the monkey's off your back, win in Tuscaloosa, and forever you'll go. They don't have anything. No one has anything on us anymore.
Who sets the draft odds for ESPN? Is that DraftKings now, or where do they get those? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I think it is DraftKings at this point.
I think they have a partnership. I think DraftKings Sportsbook sets their odds, I believe. Because most of the time you can set the sharps. If you know enough about betting and you have a reliable, credible betting source, and DraftKings Sportsbooks is legitimate for sure. They're
Hmm.
not playing games. They are legitimate. Um, the spread right now is UGA -2.
Yeah.
And this is on the road. So that means if it happened in Athens, that they would be a -5. So it'd be a 5 point favorite. So they're a 2 point favorite on the road versus Alabama. I'll be honest, I think that's pretty accurate. And I think the Sharps are telling us that they think if this game goes back and forth, Georgia has a slight edge. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be a close game. I don't expect this one. Sorry, I was just double checking stuff. I don't expect this to be one of those kind of games where you're going to see a blowout. We're talking
It's
17,
it's not going
14,
to be
21.
12-9. I know that.
No, it's not. Georgia's going to come out. We talked the other day, our last podcast about Carson. Carson and Bobo have worked some stuff out. Apparently, Beck had a very good practice, very clean, hitting deep shots, looked great. Confidence level was higher than it was at Kentucky. Essentially, Bobo and Carson are not compatible. They don't vibe. So what Georgia needs is a
Oh, no.
quarterback coach to be the intermediary. Let the coordinator explain the plan, let him coach it and call the plays, and have the quarterback coach to go, all right, Carson, he's calling this because he sees this. Just go with it, trust him, make your shot, look for this throw, look for this, stay out of your head. They need someone to coach that, and Bobo is not that kind of guy. He might can call the plays and do okay, but we'll
Yeah.
see. This game will tell us whether or not he can do it. But George, again, going back to last week, we got to have a quarterback coach. We need to have one now. Um, there's a couple that I'm already looking at that I think they should go after, but we'll see.
I threw out Chris Winkie as much as Georgia Tech would miss him severely. I think he would absolutely take it if offered. What about um, let me throw out some former dog quarterbacks. What about
Actually I wouldn't.
really you wouldn't think that either Hudson Mason or Aaron Murray would
No,
be, you don't think so?
no. Forgive me for staring off screen for a minute. I am.
I feel like Hudson would be better than Aaron Murray. I think Aaron is better at calling games, but I think Hudson is a little more coach like. I think maybe because he spent more of his career on the sideline. That's not a knock on him. I want to get that out of the way too. That's not a knock on him, but no, he learned a lot of coaching skills and tactics in being the backup behind the
Yeah.
Aaron Murray and everybody.
No, I agree. Like they were like he was good at what he could do, but like I'm sorry, I'm double checking this because someone I was reading earlier actually had a name for someone to look at for this. Someone who actually I think had worked with like he'd worked with like Jameis Winston and a few other quarterbacks to help get them in the right mindset.
Hmm.
Actually, let me look that up. No, I'm not. This is not me
Yeah.
saying that this person is being contacted
No, no,
or
no.
anything else like that.
No,
This is
no,
simply
because
saying that,
our sources with the team have not told us a thing. I will throw that out there. Our sources have not said a word. on any of the stuff on any of this stuff. If we do have information like that that we can share, we absolutely will. But right now, these are us spitballing.
Yeah, so the name George Whitfield Jr.
Okay. Yep.
He's one of the best out there. I think he's worked. I don't know if he's worked with Carson, but he doesn't. I mean, I'm double checking to make sure. Like he doesn't. He just has his own quarterback training. He probably couldn't get him to leave that, but if you could and pay him a chunk of money, you've got someone who's trained Andrew Luck, Winston, Johnny Manziel, Bryce Petty, Landry Jones, Taj Boyd, Braxton Miller, Connor Cook, Logan Thomas, EJ Manuel, Josh Allen. Like maybe not all of them are the top end, but then again, I mean, this guy that's just some of the trained people he's trained.
Yeah. What about I mean if you're gonna go
That
that route, why not Jesse Palmer or Tom House or any of those guys that are the gurus too?
I'm not sure. I mean, any of them could work, but you want someone who's going to be able to recruit. Like you need someone who can relate to an 18 to
Yeah.
22-year-old. So you've got to be real careful with that. Someone who doesn't clash with the team that we already have, who's okay being an analyst role, making not a chunk of change, but making some, and like being that one who's in the head, relaying the information to the quarterback, and just being chill. Like they just need it, clean up Carson's mental aspect, and it also would help with development for any quarterback coming along. Just something that every
Yeah.
team needs to have. That's why the NFL's got it. I
Yeah.
think that you need to have an analyst devoted directly to your quarterback who is not a graduate assistant, but someone who's getting paid to be there and just to keep them calm. Like I said, Buster Faulkner, he's the offensive coordinator at Tech. He's the one who was doing it for Stetson. He did good, but he didn't get hired to replace Monken. So, I mean, doubt he comes back. That's who I would call to talk to, but I don't know if that he is the guru that Georgia needs.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, let's see. You kind of brought up somebody or you brought an idea to my head that maybe, just maybe, I have an idea. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Somebody that knows the SEC that is real good at coaching people up and helping them make better life choices. I mean, why not him?
I don't I don't know that I want him he's an athlete. He wasn't a quarterback. It's a difference.
I mean, what about that guy?
Defensive guy, not a quarterback coach. Look at their quarterbacks and how they developed in the NFL.
Yeah, but see, what you can't see in this photo is he's holding a national championship trophy.
Kirby's got two of those. Jim Harbaugh's got one too.
But I could argue that Kirby has almost always had better quarterbacks than Nick did, and Nick won way more.
No, he did, and it also there's not much of an argument there. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you that Nick's got the titles because he had the right teams around him. I think Kirby decided to go backwards with his offense when he first started here to build
Yeah,
up where he did. That's probably what hindered it. But needless to say, Georgia to take a walk on to win two titles. We got Carson. Carson can get us there. We just got to have the right QB coach in the future to help mentally prepare our guys. So yeah, Georgia will figure it out. And as soon as if the day comes on, they do name one or they don't, we will definitely let everybody know.
exactly. So, what do we know about Alabama? We know Milrow has an arm. Milrow can throw. He can
Hmm.
manage a game pretty well. I don't like most Alabama quarterbacks. I don't think I forgot his first name. What is it? Justin? It's Jalen. Close,
Yeah, yeah,
close enough.
yeah.
Uh, Jalen Milrow looks like he completes about 67% of his passes. Longest play he's had is 84, 590 yards. So he's averaging what almost 200 a game. But I
Yeah,
mean, they run the ball a lot too.
they do.
He managed the game as good as any of them do.
He can manage
He
it unless you get pressure in his face.
oh, here's the stat I like: 8 touchdowns, that many interceptions, absolute zero interceptions. That
Yeah, if you want to talk that, Carson Beck, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 680 yards
exactly.
passing. You're gonna have it could be a quarterback kind of a day. I will go with Milrow's a good quarterback, but he's not elite. He's not an NFL quarterback. We're seeing that Alabama really didn't develop NFL level
Yeah,
quarterbacks. The thing is,
He's a
if
real
Milrow,
stretch. He's
yeah,
seventh round project right now.
yeah, you look at Milrow, what he's done against USF and all that. All USF had to do was play bully ball up front, and they almost won a football game.
Yep.
Send Jalen Walker all damn night. Just send him on a blitz, get him in his face, pop him once or twice. He'll get nervous. He'll make a few plays with his feet, so Georgia fans don't fret when he runs for a first down and you start to yell at the TV, cover him. I'd rather not spy him all night. I'd rather blitz him and make him use his legs, make him take time off the clock, make him beat with his legs. Because if you can do that, Georgia is very good at bending and not breaking. So all you got to do all night long is keep them, because Georgia proved that with Kentucky. They can bend and not break all night and give up field goals. Georgia gives up 4 field goals to Bama and allows them 1 touchdown at most. Georgia can win that football game. So I honestly, and Georgia, like their defense can handle this. We just got to get pressure. They got secondaries in a good spot, linebackers in a good spot. We just got to correct the missed tackles. So hopefully that's what we see this time around.
Know who they've played up until now, and the fact that Bama only has 7 sacks and 3 of them are one player. That defense ain't what it was. They are not
Mm-mm.
big pressure. They are more coverage nowadays. But
They are
before we get
coverage. This is not a Bama one. This is not your typical Saban. You know, he's not there, but like this is not your
yeah,
typical. This is different. I mean, they're still a good team, but this is not the team that you know by the end of the game that they're still going to show up and win. They still might, but they haven't proven it yet under this new coach.
yeah, and this will be the 60-second mention of Chaz Chambliss. Shout out to our favorite Bulldog. That I don't know. I feel like he's due the way he's playing this year, and that they're finding better spots for him, and he's earning better spots. I mean even you said it before I did. He's playing way better than
Hmm.
he has before. I feel like he's due for not a breakout, but he's due for a game that just makes it look like he's a world beater. And maybe it's this one. Like you said, you start
He's
with the
due for
early pressure
something.
and
Yeah.
maybe he gets a bunch of coverage sacks or something. He's going to
I
get
think
something
coverage
with this.
sacks are his thing. I don't think he's going to blow past line. He's great at setting an edge. He's finally learned how to do it. He's finally
Yeah.
got that. So he sets an
You
edge.
know what it
Jalen
was? The
blitzes.
video game came out.
Must have been. He got a
Had to
he
be.
got a boost. But he just needs to like if he can get in the backfield and just hold the line. Jalen comes on the opposite side. He goes out. Chaz has a chance, but Chaz's got to make sure he takes the right angle because Jalen's quick. Georgia's in a good shot. Like honestly, if Georgia's offense had to come out last week against Kentucky or the week before, come out, dropped 40 on them, I'd come into this game telling you that I think Georgia wins a big game. Maybe not like blowout, but Georgia wins at least by 10. I'm thinking less than 10 points on this game for sure. It's just going to be one of those. I look forward to watching it, but at the same time, I'm not looking forward to watching it. Like it's going to be entertaining to see what happens for sure.
Where am I going to be? I'm going to get to see at least the first half, maybe into the third before I will be on my way to the KSU game. I believe that's no. This is at 7. No, this will be the same time. I will be
Yeah,
at that game, so I'll have to follow along and come home and watch the replay. I was just looking. This is surprising. Graham Nicholson is the place kicker for. He's done all but 2 of the extra points. He's 19 for 19. The other guy's 2 for 2. Hey, that's great. That's what you're supposed to do. You know how many field goals he has attempted this year?
0,
One.
1.
And it was somewhere between 40 and 49 yards, and he missed it.
Yeah, it's Bama and the kickers. I swear, like that just seems to be a
Well,
thing for them.
it kind of tells you this year that they've either been feast or famine. They've either been score or turn over the ball. They
Yeah,
either get close enough to score or they don't, and they end up punting, I guess.
yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens with that one. I don't really know. I mean,
It's
don't know how
surprising. I
they're going
thought
to
it
turn
would
out.
take more by now.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia's got several, like you said. It's just gonna be it'll be fun to watch. I mean, no matter which way you look at it.
Yeah. And Jam Miller, was he a recruit or they get him somewhere?
I think he was a recruit.
I think he was because they stole Tech's guy a couple years ago, Jameer Gibbs. But I welcome that kid made the right decision because he ended up being a top draft pick.
Hmm.
He knew that
Um,
wasn't going to happen at Tech.
to your point, they've had 15 punts already this year.
Ooh, that's 5 a
Um,
game,
5 a game,
and they're
and
undefeated.
like I mean, it's good on them because I mean, to be fair though, they have won. This is not me knocking. I'm not trying to be a Georgia homer, even though I am. But they played Western Kentucky. They win 63 to nothing. They play South Florida. They win 42-16. But
Yeah.
again, that game was a lot closer until the fourth quarter when South Florida just gave a lot of field position and a turnover or two. That
Well,
game was a lot
Wisconsin
close.
was giving it to them early.
Wisconsin 42-10. I don't, and like Jalen has thrown for only 200 one time. They're doing better running the ball than they are throwing. But even that last game, Milroe was the team leader. So that tells you that you get pressure at Milroe and you keep him under 200. Yes, they're scoring 42, but they're doing it on the ground. They're not, if they are doing it through the air, it's close to the line. They're getting some big, you feast or famine. They're getting a lot of big plays. They're not getting a lot of like small, you know,
They're not grinding at all. They're not grinding out long plays. They're
no.
getting
Ryan
good
Williams,
opportunities to make
Ryan
big
Williams,
chunks.
31-yard pass. Miller had a 3-yard run, 26-yard pass, 34-yard run, 10-yard run, 37-yard pass. They're scoring
Yeah,
big. And what's
big
Georgia,
plays.
what's the one thing they're good at doing? They're good at not letting the big plays happen. If you're going to
Yeah.
beat them, you're going to have to beat them and hit them in the mouth.
Well, and stopping the run. They're so physical up front. It's real hard to run on Georgia.
Right. Yeah.
So
See,
this
look, right
game's
here you go.
playing right into them.
Yeah. Like right here, 43-yard pass. This is USF now. 43-yard pass, 56-yard run, 29-yard run. Until the fourth quarter. Now, the weather was not great, but it wasn't the monsoon it was the year before. Milroe had
Yeah.
only thrown for 156 yards or 51 yards about the fourth quarter. You anytime you do that to a quarterback, you are in good shape. Like Wisconsin, 196 yards fourth quarter. He had 159 yards. Like he's outside of like he's literally not getting much out of it. Like they're really not getting much out of their roster right now.
Those are Tim Tebow pro numbers.
That's what I'm
That's
saying. Like
that's
that
what he
makes
did.
me
That's what he did at Denver. Which,
Milroe.
well, like
Okay,
we say,
Milroe
though,
was. I'll give this. Milroe was 7-9 for 200 against the first game is Western Kentucky. You kind of expect that, but that was definitely 84-yard tap past 22. 84. Yeah, like they're every game their touchdowns, exception of maybe a handful, have all of them have been over 20 yards. Oop, my bad. Yeah, hit the wrong button on my speaker next to me. But yeah, don't need Bluetooth right now. But needless to say, they have to rely on big plays. They cannot. It's not like they can score and like drive down a team. Yeah, they're driving, but they're not like they just hit the big plays. You can't
they
win
hit them
all
when
year
they
long
hit
doing
them.
that.
They hit them when they need them, and then they've hit them against inferior competition.
Yeah. So they haven't faced a team yet. Kentucky's always a tough team. Georgia always gets played tough by Kentucky. Kentucky will play if Kentucky plays Bama, they're going to play them tough. Like it doesn't matter. Kentucky's just going to do that until you finally just beat them down. You know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
needless to say, like it's just going to be a fun game. It's fun if you enjoy watching a slugfest. And you never know. This could be the game Georgia wakes up and just drops 50 on them, and Bama shows up and goes, "What just happened?" You know.
All right, let's come up with. We got about 6.5 minutes left. Let's come up with three keys to Georgia winning this game, and then we'll get into kind of predictions and picks after that. I'll start. It is very typical of Georgia to do this. It is very typical of teams in the state of Georgia to do this, and they've done it my entire life, which means they've done it your entire life. If Georgia does not play down to Alabama, that's key. Keep playing Georgia football. Forget
Hmm.
that you're playing Alabama, who's not the team they used to be. If they play down to them, oh, this is a nail biter. But if they play normal up to their
Yeah.
speed, then I think they're in cruise control.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's always the thing with Georgia. That's definitely a Mark Richt thing. Kirby had a little bit of it sometimes, but again, Kirby's is different than Rick's. Rick's is because he didn't know how to keep a team going. Kirby's is sometimes a little more manipulative in his way because even Saban
Yeah,
did it. Not saying that Georgia doesn't still do it. I'm just saying like Kirby usually has a reason he does that. He's willing to
yeah,
let that happen until okay, let win the dang game. Let's just go out and win it.
yeah.
The other key is going to get pressure on Jalen. Like I said, send send Jalen Walker all night. Get that defensive line to hold the line. Don't let him run you. Just keep Jalen in pocket and blitz him. Don't let him beat you with his arm. Live with him making a 20 or 30-yard run on occasion,
Sure.
but don't let him do it the same drive. Do that, I think they won't score as many points as they need to.
Just when you force him out of the pocket, force him to Chaz's side, and we got it.
Exactly.
He can, like you
Or
said, he can
Michael.
hold, exactly. They can hold the edge better than anybody right now. So that's definitely it. And then what would you say is the third key?
Third key, Bobo and Carson need to make sure that they're on sync. Get the right guys in the right place in the lot on wide receiver. Running game will be all right. We just need to focus on the run game, get some play action in there. That's what we're missing. Get some slants across the middle. Would love it. Hit those slants. Georgia will be fine if we can just get confidence, keep confidence, and let us be ourselves. Georgia can win this game and score every drive. We know they can do it. Besides, the secondary for Bama did not has looked suspect at times. Not
Yeah.
not great all the time, not bad all the time, but they have. There's been players running wide open across the middle. Georgia just needs to find that gap and just fire the ball in there because Carson's got the arm.
He definitely does. All right. Kind of predictions.
I'll go ahead and go with a 24-21 Georgia, although that very well could flip the other way.
Yeah, I wanted to get cute and try to make a case for Bama, but the more I poured over all the stats and a lot of the stuff we talked about, a few of the things you brought up, I just it's going to have to be Georgia playing down to them to make it that kind of game, the game you're talking about. Unfortunately, like I said, the Falcons do it, the Braves do it, uh, literally every team in the dang state, and it makes no sense why they play down or up to their competition
Hmm.
based off who they're playing. Um, I'm going to say Georgia finds a way to remember what Georgia football is. I'm actually going to say something along the lines of 30 to 18, 30 to 19, some weird number that Bama's going to end up with because of field goals. I think they're going to make that kid
Okay.
kick. I think he's going to hit like 3 out of 5,
So
something
you
like
say we're getting
that.
a scoregami.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a weird score from Bama,
Yeah.
but it's 30, 31 points for Georgia, I think sound about right because Kirby's not going to really want to stomp it in. He's still got respect for him.
He's got respect,
And
but it wouldn't shock me if Georgia gets up that point where he's comfortable, where he wants to put the spanking on them simply because
it
make
could.
this a statement game and go, y'all thought we were done. We're not. I could see that
Yeah.
happening. I don't feel confident this week going into it just based on history. And as I talked to someone today, as you know, dog fans, we still have I was too young for the Ray Goff or Ray Goof era, but where I'm used to the Mark Richt, we still have that hangover that's still in our blood that we are like, great, big game, we're going to lose, or we're not going to show up this week. It's still in there, so it's hard to pick them to win these kind of games, even though Kirby has had them winning every regular season game for 2 years. That loss is going to happen at some point, probably this week. I'll be honest. But nonetheless,
It's
Georgia,
possible.
Kirby's got this team in Kirby we trust. He's going to be around for hopefully a little bit while longer. So just
I feel
we'll
it.
see what
Yeah, I
happens.
feel like I feel like if they're going to get that loss out of the way, I want to do it now
Hmm.
because the next possible place that I see is
Ole
3 games
Miss,
from now, Texas.
Texas. I think that Georgia can handle Texas, to be honest, by the
I
time we
think
get
I think
there.
they can, but they're due for a loss. I think whoever wins the SEC is going to end up with one loss this year,
Hmm.
and I would rather them get it out of the way now and then just steamroll their way in.
Exactly.
But yeah, Mississippi's an interesting one too. They got Auburn next week. It's a loaded schedule,
Loaded.
but
Yeah. I mean, Texas and Ole Miss and Tennessee, those are your three big games in that short span that are going to really test and see what they're made of. If they show up against Bama and at least put something on tape that's worth looking at, even if it is a close loss, but Georgia at least looks good while doing it, that gives you hope. So we'll take a little bit
yeah,
of hope in that they can turn it around. It's a new era, new playoff. Your team's not going to be undefeated every season anymore to win the title. It's okay to have that loss. It's okay to have that second loss. It ain't going to kill you anymore unless it's to an unranked team that hasn't won a game in 20 years.
exactly. But since we're at the end of the show, I just want to say thoughts and continued prayers to everybody that is going to be affected by this big hurricane coming through. Looks like it may steamroll through Atlanta a little bit as well. All our friends in Florida, Tennessee, anybody else that could be affected. You guys stay safe out there. And, best advice we can give you when this hurricane starts rolling through is to hunker down.
Exactly.
Just hunker down, stay safe, and we'll see you guys on the other side of it. He's Jake. I'm Jeremy. We'll see you guys next week. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.